We are riffing with the Half-Whole Diminished scale, and see, Restream.io, my multi-streaming service, is having some issues. But then again, it looks like everything is all good on the YouTube channel and on Twitch channel. So, fucking A. Hey, just like past streams, we're going to start with some video stuff. This way you have 100% complete, no fuck up performances to look at, and then we're going to talk about each riff. So we got 3 riffs, or kind of like collections of riffs, because they're definitely more than one riff. It's like riff collection 1, 2, and 3 we're going to look at here. So yeah, let's get to some video. Intro complete. You know what, Mr. Taylor? I kind of hurt my arm too. I was getting kind of tired doing that. Alright, so if you did not see the stream, whether it was happening or the archived stream from 2 weeks ago, covering the Half-Whole Diminished scale, so I'm not going to go through what the scale is in great detail this time, because it's already been done. So I'll do it briefly here, but if you want more detail on what it is, go watch the stream from 2 weeks ago. Damn it. Basically, we're using A as our root note. Use that. Doesn't matter. But everything is going to go half step higher, then a whole step higher. And it just keeps repeating that again and again and again. So from the open A, we go up a half step, which is 1 fret, and a whole step, which is 2 frets. And then it just keeps repeating that again and again. For A note, and then half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, and that brings us back to our root note. That's what these riffs are all based on. The first one I'm going to go over, I kind of cheated. One thing that's interesting with power chords is you can break away from being 100% in key, because the root note of a power chord, also known as a fifth chord, it really only emphasizes the bass note of that chord. So a common way people will use a power chord that does not go in key, let's say you're playing in the key of A minor, is throwing in that B5 chord here. So you got like an A5 chord, G5, F5, G5, A5, C5, B5. That chord is technically not in key, but it sounds fine. The reason why it's not in key is because a B5 chord contains a B and an F sharp. F sharp is not in the key of A minor, but with the power chords, it doesn't sound out of key. So let's get to riff number 1. I'm clicking on the wrong things here. Move this over. So riff number 1, and then pull up the tab and talk about what's going on. Alright, so there's that. So here we go, riff number 1. Everything on screen right now. So this one, as I said, I cheated a little bit. Not every single note is following the half-whole diminished scale. However, all the root notes are. So the basic pattern, you just follow the root notes, and it's, let me see here, let me move some things around. Let me hold the guitar kind of incorrect for right now. Alright, so basically that's the start, just back and forth. But there's a pattern that I'm doing here. I'm kind of like starting here, going up, back, and then up a little bit, and then back and forth throughout this scale. And I'm just, again, using the root note as my basis for following this scale. So real slow. Fuck something up. Take 2. My mind drifted. And that's the problem with live streams. I got all this pressure not to screw up, and I do it anyway. Someone watching and thinking, God damn, how does he not know his stuff? Well, that's because I basically wrote it, learned it well enough to get the video recording done, and then moved on. I haven't played this stuff in 2 days. But, yeah, so that's what it was. Slow. So, nothing really technical about it, but getting the picking hand. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, just getting that hand moving, using a technique some people don't like, because they're like, oh, you're going to hurt your elbow. But yeah, a lot of arm movement happening in order to get that picking motion. If you can do it just wrist, fantastic. I need to use my arm to go that fast. The riff is at 250 beats a minute. Okay. So, moving on to riff number 2. Alright, so this one, no chords involved. So it definitely felt much more true, completely true to the half-whole diminished scale stuff. So, let me move this around again. The whole thing, except for the very end, is palm muted. Just thought it sounded better that way. Nice and chunky, but real slow here. I just kind of like the pattern of using the two half steps together, with pedaling off of the open A string. So right there, it breaks away from the 16th note pattern and does 16th note triplet. So that part's a little bit tricky to get the timing down. You're used to thinking about this, and then all of a sudden, got to throw in 6 notes a beat instead of 4. So really got to pick it up right there, and then go right back to the 16th note. So that could be troubling for some people, maybe not for others. So continuing on from that 16th note triplet, we go back to this riff again. Same as the first bar. So that part was a bit tricky for me. I had to metronome that one quite a bit to get down. So all you're doing is just doing a 1, 2, 3, climbing higher in the scale, and then you shift down 1 note in the scale and do it again. 1, 2, 3, shift down, 1, 2, 3, shift down, 1, 2, 3. I just like the way those notes sounded. Whoops. And then here you transitions, that's basically like the transition bar into pedaling off of the F sharp instead of the A note. Whoops. Take 2. Now for that part, let me highlight that bar. I actually had that written different originally. I think I had it as I had it that way. Problem is, I was just going off of what sounded good to my ear without paying attention completely to what's in the scale. That note there I landed on, that's a D note. That's not in this scale. You have a D sharp and a D flat, so I had to rewrite that bar. Still sounds good to me. And yeah, so that was a quick rewrite during the recording of the video stuff. So, continuing on. And I found it easier to shift my hand over here to middle finger on the 11. So this way I didn't have to use the pinky so much. Also, it was easier to, I mean, normally I would have practiced it with the pinky instead. But I was so used to doing it the old way, the wrong way, with the incorrect note, that I had to use those 3 fingers instead in order to be able to record the damn thing. So anyway. So we have another tripleted 16th note coming in there, 6 notes a beat. And then here is where it got really tricky. I'm alternate picking the whole thing, and I definitely had to metronome the hell out of this this riff. So, a bit of hand shifting that goes on here that made this playable for me. So starting, you got your first, third, second, and then first, fourth, fourth first again. So bouncing back and forth there on these 4 notes with my 4th and 1st finger. And then just that last bit. Pinky, ring, first, pinky again, first, ring, pinky, and with the middle there. So just that bar alone, I would say, is a good thing to practice just for picking and finger dexterity. Especially because of that back and forth thing you do with your hand here. It's kind of weird. I think it is anyway. Alright, riff number 3 coming up. More consistent picking here. Well, there's a few spots where you don't pick continuously, but we got ourselves a 12/8 time signature. I could have also written this out as a 4/4 time signature with a bunch of triplets. Oh my god. Trying to get the size just right. No, I guess it's good enough. Yeah, so try to get it anyway, as I was trying to say, yes, you could also make this a 4/4 time signature and just make it all the triplet, but usually when you have something that's a constant triplet feel, well, you'll just put it in something like a 12/8. 12/8 time signature. Because basically, well, mathematically it's the same damn thing. And we got ourselves some open A5s to break up the constant barrage of notes. Another way I break up the notes near the end is, well, instead of doing a different note every single time, kind of hanging on one note, three notes click. Anyway, we'll get there. Actually, that would be 3 notes every half click. Alright, so nice and slow from the start here. Lots of hammer-ons to help get this thing going. I thought it sounded better to do the hammer-ons instead of going. You could do either way, technically, you know, depending on how you want the riff to sound. But this just sounded better to me. So it just breaks up the dynamics of the note attack. So, slowly. So that's the first line there. So just taking advantage of the half-whole pattern there, and then here it is again. Now this part I use the kind of opposite way. So now I'm going down a half, then a whole step, half step, whole step, instead of going up, half step, whole step. So remember, the half-whole diminished scale is really the same thing as the whole half diminished scale, because if you start on B flat and go up a whole step, half step, whole step, half step, and so on, you get the exact same notes as if you started on A and went half whole, half whole, half whole, and so on. So second line Again, starting by going down the half and whole. So that was a part I had to metronome. I just started by doing that section there. And I chose to do legato because I like the way it sounds. You could alternate pick something like that, but again, different dynamics in the note attack. Same thing with this next part. Bit of a coily bit. So somebody might normally want to do it that way, and you're doing 3 notes down. You're going 1, 2, 3, and then going back to that last second to last note you did, and going down 3 again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But again, I like the way the legato sounded better. It sounds more fluid. Palm mute stuff in there is just what I naturally want to do. I think it helps me with the pick slanting my arm naturally wants to do at that point in these in this downward or descending 3-note coil deal. But it really only feels natural to do the palm mute when I'm playing it at that speed. So if you metronome this, and I would definitely start with 3 notes a beat, not 6 notes a beat to begin with, if this is new for you. But I didn't do the palm mutes while metronoming this just to make sure I could do it well enough for the recording. So, not a big deal if you don't palm mute while you practice that. I don't think it is. One point of hand transition that I needed to do to actually pull this thing off well enough. Right here at this note that's currently highlighted, you gotta hit that with the pinky to set yourself up for this. So when I hit that C note initially, the one here that I'm pointing at, the beginning of the blue box, I'm hitting that with my ring finger and going up to the 13th fret there with my index, and then coming back to that C note with my pinky. So now I'm set up for the pick, pull off here. So that's why I'm transitioning to the pinky on that C note there. Whoops. And here comes just straight tripleted picking going up. So what I'm doing here is just following the half-whole pattern. And then I break it at that point. Because this is the transition into going up the whole half. And that covers the 3 riffs we are looking at today. I suppose now it is question and answer time. So if you got questions, type them out. Now, there was one person in particular who had some questions about improvisation. The question was like, what are some suggestions, or how would I personally phrase things using this scale during improv? So that's going to be turned into a live stream as well. Chords you can use while using the notes of this scale. Well, easiest answer, or easiest way to describe it would be like, you know what, I'm going to bring up a notepad here while I just talk about what the heck this, well, bring up a notepad and type some stuff out. Actually, let me bring something up where I can make the font bigger. Well, while I'm getting this ready, so I can type things, basically, chords you can use are comprised of notes that are within the scale. So if you watch, I actually talked a little bit about this on the stream from 2 weeks ago, some interesting things that happen. Let me see if I can find that too. Or you can watch me search for things. Where in the hell did I put it? You know what? Let me just do it like this. There it is. Alright. Move this around. Whoops. Wrong one was grabbed. There it goes. Okay, so you got some interesting things that happen. So basically, you got the notes, well, at the top of this highlighted portion. So with the root note being A for the half-whole diminished scale, these are the notes, the 8 notes that you get here. So you can combine any of these notes to make a chord. The other thing that's interesting is, because this scale is 100% symmetrical, the notes A, C, D sharp, and F sharp can all be considered the root note, and you wind up with the exact same note names over and over and over again. So again, the A, C, D sharp, and F sharp can all be the root note of this scale, because you wind up with the same 8 notes following the half-whole pattern. So all of these chords will be found by any of those notes being started on for the root note. And the, well, it's not letting me pick it. Well, shit. The B flat right here, the D flat, the E, and the G, if you do the if you do the whole half pattern where you go up a whole step and a half step and you keep cycling that, any of those 4 notes, the B flat, D flat, E, and G, any of those notes will be the root note for that particular scale. Again, because it's 100% symmetrical, it just keeps doing that pattern again and again and again. Any of those notes will work. So, putting some stuff together, I think the most obvious thing that's going to happen here is you're going to have a diminished chord starting on every single note in this scale. Every single note, you will have a diminished chord. So right now this one is highlighted. You have an A diminished. Try and get myself on here. Oh hell, I can just move this up. I guess you don't need this. Wrong window. There we go. So yeah, you got your A diminished there to be used. Go up to the next note key, B flat, and you have yourself a B flat diminished. Go up to the C note. That's not the right one. There we go. You got your C diminished. You also have your B or D flat diminished. I guess you could also say D sharp diminished. Or C sharp diminished. The D sharp diminished. E diminished. You could also play that here. Doesn't really matter. And then your F sharp diminished. And last, your G diminished. So you can play, yeah, on any of the root notes there, or any of the root notes, any of the notes that make up this scale, a diminished chord can be formed. So if you skip every other note, that's what happens. You end up, it's like from A, you skip the B flat, land on C, and then you go C, skip the D flat, land on D sharp. You got yourself an A diminished triad right there. And you can just move that pattern up. Every single time, every single note in this scale. Yourself a diminished chord. So what else do we have? We're talking on a basic level here. Triad stuff. So when you use one of the first, third, the A, let's just say this, the A note, C note, D sharp, and F sharp note, the 4 notes that can be the root note of this scale, something cool happens. I think it's cool. Besides a diminished chord, you also have a minor triad you can play, and a major triad you can play. It's all in P. So, you have this pattern that happens all starting on the C. You have a C diminished, a C minor, and a C major. Same thing starting on E. You have an E diminished. No, I'm sorry, that's not right. D sharp. Same thing on a D sharp. You have a D sharp diminished, D sharp minor, and a major. And then we go up to our F sharp. Same thing happens there. F sharp diminished, F sharp minor, and F sharp major all happen within this scale. Now, going back to the other 4 notes, the B flat, D flat, E, and G, you have, besides the diminished chord, you have this guy that happens. So, what are some common or some typical things in here? So you have your root note. There is no 5th interval present, not a perfect 5th anyway. You can call that an augmented 5th though. There's your octave again, just in this particular chord shape I'm holding. And there is your minor 3rd. So you could call this like a B flat minor sharp 5. However, typically when I'm teaching people 6th chords, I also teach how if you have just like a 1, 3, and 6, you can just call that a major 6. If you have a 1 flat 3 and 6, I would just call it a minor 6. In this case, it would be a flat 6, so I call it a minor flat 6. So that happens. You can move that guy around, go up a step and a half. That's all in key. So there's some chordy type stuff. But yeah, any of those notes that you see in the scale there, you could put them into a chord. So like if you took the A minor chord there, and you wanted to add in the G note, you get yourself a nice A minor 7. It's also however, it might not sound sonically the best thing in the world to use non-weird chords the entire time. Like an A minor 7 doesn't sound very strange. So if you want it to sound weird enough to use a half-whole diminished scale, like I said, to doing this, like I would use the F sharp instead. I mean, that's a bit weirder. Or even just the major here. No, that's not weird at all. What the hell am I thinking? There's a dominant 7 there. Anyway, now I'm trying to remember what chords I used on that backing track from last week. I think I did that. I had an A minor triad, and then I added in the B flat. So basically an A minor add flat 9. I definitely don't remember what chords I went to after that. I wrote the backing track 2 weeks ago. I don't remember. But adding things like flat 9s to a chord will definitely make it sound weird. And you can still do the major. Make it easier to do it over here. See, something like this I'd say is much more appropriate to a chord like that. I feel is much more appropriate to use to throw your half-whole diminished scale on top of that. But that's going to be one of the things we go over in one of these upcoming live streams. I don't know what order it's going to be in. I'm still every now and then working on that damn CAFO riff I'm supposed to do a live stream on. Good God, is that a pain in the ass to get down. Anyway, any other questions? Let's hear them. Or, I guess, let's read them. I can't hear it. You got to type it. And then I'll read it. And then I'll say it out loud. And then we'll all hear me say it. You're welcome, sir. I used to be afraid to play that part of the song because I hated playing the F chord so much. Mr. Ben! Grab a pint, you have arrived. Hello, sir. You missed the lesson part. One thing that's helped me able to play this F bar chord a lot easier is putting really light ass gauge strings on the top here. Oh, you did pick up a you had to pick up a 6-string bass? You two people have no idea who the hell I'm talking to. I'm responding to some comments on the Twitch stream instead. Of course, I got the damn camera blocking the chat room part. Alright, well, we were talking about the half-whole diminished scale here. If you got any questions about a half-whole diminished scale, hey, let me know. Eduardo, hey, tell us about how to explore pentatonic and Greek modes to improvise. Well, I have to look up what the hell a Greek mode is. What the hell's a Greek mode? I've never heard anyone talk about a Greek mode. Unless you want to just tell me what it is. But yeah, I'll talk about pentatonics and all that stuff too. Greek mode. Oh. Apparently Greek mode is a name I was none aware of for just the modes that come from the major scale. Hot diggity damn. Alright, well hey, that makes it a lot easier for me to answer this shit. Alright, let's close this window. Well, the main thing, I'll try and make this as simple as possible to understand. As long as the chords you're playing over, and I'm going to assume, like when you're talking about improvising, you want to play a solo. If I'm incorrect on that, tell me. But I'm assuming you're talking about how to use these scales to improvise over backing tracks, other chord progressions, things like that. Much like when I was just now talking about, you know, creating chords using the notes in the diminished scale. Well, you just take notes that are in that scale, smush them together any which way, and you play the scale on top. Because when people are playing in key, and let's use the key of A minor and C major for example. So you got, and I'll use triad chords to also keep this simple. Let me adjust this camera here. So what are the notes in the key of A minor? You have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. 7 notes. If you remember how the alphabet begins, you're good. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. When you have chords that use those notes, then you can improvise over it any which way you want to. So, like the chords in order, just the triad chords, you have A minor, B diminished, C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major. Ha, what is the alphabet? That comment threw me off. Jeez. So yeah, the chords, well, I'll do it this way, you might be able to see it a bit better. So A minor consists of A, C, and E. B diminished is B, D, F. C major is C, E, G. D minor, we have D, F, A. E minor, E, G, B. F major, you have F, A, C. G major, G, B, D. So all those notes are within the key of A minor. So on any of those chords, they all fit on top of that. Now, with the pentatonics, there's a bit more leeway in how to do it. And hey, we got time. I'll throw on a backing track and do some demonstration stuff too. But with the pentatonic, and we'll stick with the key of A minor, C major. So an A minor pentatonic, most popular damn guitar scale out there. The notes used here, we have A, C, D, E, G, and A. So basically it's an A minor scale with the B note and the F note taken out. This gives a bit more freedom in where you can use that scale because, well, you have less notes involved, and an A, C, D, E, G combination of notes happens in multiple keys. So I'm not going to get into that right now because that'd probably just be more confusing than helpful. And then you also have your C major pentatonic, which is the relative of the A minor pentatonic. Same notes, you're just starting on C. C, D, E, G, A, C. I've also heard, or read that this is called the Chinese scale. Chinese sounding music. What brand of guitar? This is a Monson guitar. All handmade, and damn, I love them. Alright, so how do you improvise using these scales? Well, first thing to do is at least know one of the scales. So if you're in the key of A minor, you have 7 modes that occur. You have obviously your A natural minor scale, which is the same as Aeolian. So if you're doing the 3-note per string shapes, you would have this. You have B Locrian. Change this here. You have C major, C natural major, which is the same thing as C Ionian. You got D Dorian. E Phrygian. I'll just play it down here. You can tell I don't play open string scales very often. F Lydian. And G Mixolydian. So all those scale shapes right there, if you're playing over an A minor backing track or a C major backing track, it doesn't matter what scale you use, because every single one contains the 7 notes that are in that key. So I would advise starting with just one scale shape if you're new to this sort of thing. So let's use that A minor 3-note per string shape, for example. And let's bring up the backing track I give damn near everybody when they are learning to improvise. Really simple one. And for some reason it's not coming up right away. Huh. Well, that's a shame. Or they just change the well, there it is. It used to come up with number 1. Okay. All you gotta do is just start hitting notes within that scale. That's it. So just play slow when you start. You can hit the same note over and over again. Climb your way up the scale at first, just so you get used to it. So if you just stay within that scale shape you do know, you can't fuck up unless you go out of key. So if you step out of the scale, like, oh god, then you know you get back to the scale shape you're in. Oh no, I'm out of the scale. Okay, now I'm back in the scale. When you get comfortable with playing other shapes, then you can start, I mean, you can go anywhere you want to in any of the shapes. So I'm just going through all of them right now. In any order I damn well please. Obviously I'm playing too fast for to really know what the hell I'm doing, but this is just what happens when you learn all your scale shapes and you can combine them all. You can play it all on one string. So it doesn't matter what scale shape or mode shape you're using. As long as it's in key, that's all that matters. You don't have to worry about the mode. Just play what sounds good to your ear. And that's why I say play slow. Find something that sounds good to you. Keep tapping the wrong fucking note. That's the note I wanted to tap. And And don't be afraid to try stuff you're not comfortable with. Swap it up if you feel you need to just try some new things. That's okay. That's how you learn. That's how you get better at this stuff. So it's okay to fuck up when you improv. Because you're just making shit up. It's not a big deal. With the key of A minor, you got all the strings open. So you can do, you know, utilize it. Now, pentatonic stuff. The A minor pentatonic works perfect over this particular track too. Same idea, just play it slow. And that's really it. Just want to start improvising. You just got to hit the damn notes and do it a lot until it gets easier. Now, some exceptions with the pentatonic. And Ben over at Twitch says, or should I say grab a pint, is it wrong to use your first name for like Twitch etiquette if I know it? Should I refer to you by the screen name instead? While I wait for an answer, I'm going to now demonstrate with an A major blues backing track. Now this is an exception with pentatonic stuff. So I said that you use notes, or the scales you have in the notes, along with, you know, the chords and the combine and all that stuff. Blues has exceptions here, and just I don't know what the hell the scientific reasoning behind it is, but I just know it fits. For some reason, a minor pentatonic scale played over a major chord progression, well, at least a 1-4-5 progression, it fits. It works. It works. Just for the YouTube community. Ben over at Twitch says that when I gave him this idea during a lesson, and he had that backing track I was just playing over, he played over it for 2 hours. And that's something I used to do all the time when I was learning how to play. Instead of just running scales up and down, I would just play over tracks. I would make up solos over Iron Maiden songs, you know, hour or two a day on certain days. Instead of playing what they played, I just made up my own shit on top of it. It's probably the most fun way to practice your scales, is improvise. Just make shit up, have fun with it. So yeah, this in playing a minor pentatonic over a major chord progression doesn't work over every circumstance, and it also, you can't play a full natural minor scale over a major chord progression. So like if you play an A minor natural scale over an A major 1-4-5 backing track, it's gonna sound like shit. But for some reason, the pentatonic, it works perfectly fine. So. And it's one reason why blues has that specific characteristic. So this is a major progression here. Now let's see what happens when I use the full minor scale. Doesn't fucking fit. But go right back to the pentatonic. Of course, you can always use the blues scale as well, obviously. the extended blues scale. There you go. So easy answer or fast answer. How do you start improvising? You fucking hit some notes over the chords. Just make sure you're in key. Eduardo asks, do you have any advice to use the chromatic scale correctly? Correctly. Usually people will use chromatics to, like, as passing tone kind of stuff. Kind of bridge the gap in. I don't... If I do a chromatic type scale thing, that's when I'm just, well, writing some weird fucking metal sounding stuff. Like when I think of chromatic, well, it's just like you can take chords and move it around any which way. Something I like to do with, I like to call them abbreviated major 7th chords, because I'm using the 1, 3, and 7, and I like to use that chromatically. So there's a clear chromatic thing there. So major 7s sound fucking metal if you use them right. But as far as like soloing type stuff, let's put that other backing track back on. I should have brought more water in. Holy crap, it's already 2 o'clock. I guess we got questions going, so let's keep the stream going. See, I did it right there. Watch again. Listen again. So I'm going to go up to A, B, C, which is in key, and then I'm going to go C, B, B flat, A, and even like that right there. So if you use it, I mean, that's what's kind of happening in a blues scale. You have passing notes, like right there. Same thing with your extended blues scale. They're notes you can kind of add some weird color, add some tension, and then get rid of that tension real quick. Just get the fuck out of here. Don't stay on the note very long. You go through it fast enough, then it sounds okay. But if you're just like playing stuff like that, it's like, well, it's in the chromatic scale technically, but all these notes are so out of key, it sounds like ass. But if you want to sound like ass, just do this. Back to beat and key. That's one way you can use chromatics to fill in gaps during solos. Another thing you can do, say you have a riff like this, you can move that up and down chromatically too. It's like this pattern here, that's same fingering, same interval structure, a different place in key. So you could like climb your way up chromatically with that. Or even way back down. Something you could do. Like that. Things like that I think sound best when you're able to fly through it really damn fast. Because then you can't hear the nonsense of out of notes or out of key notes happening. Don't you hear the flurry of chromatics there? So having some speed with it will help, I think, with that. I mean, you can land on a note that's out of key to create some tension there. Just gotta be careful. I hope that gives you some good advice on using chromatics. Biggest thing is you just try them out. Obviously, you know, I could write riffs and whatnot to give examples of using chromatics. Since Mr. Eduardo, you are on the Patreon supporter people, or one of the people. Hey, after the maiden stuff's done, or in between the maiden stuff, I can do some lessons involving chromatic stuff. You're welcome. Alright, well, it's now 5 minutes past the original cutoff point for the stream, so I think it's time to end this guy, but appreciate everyone hanging out, participating, commenting, sending questions and all that. But yeah, so next session is in 2 weeks. I'm going to complete the half-whole diminished scale riffs, and these two that I wrote, they're so damn difficult for me. I was like, there's no way I was going to get them playable in time for today. So that's why this thing's gotten split up into an additional lesson instead of the original plan to doing 5 today. That's 5. That's 4. That's 5. Okay. Well, that's it. Time to sign off.